Good evening and welcome to the Melissa Cardinals Network. You're joining us every Monday night at the Dugout Sports Grill for the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. This is Trey Graham with Cardinals head football coach Matt Nally. And the season is halfway over, 3-2 overall, 2-0 in the district, but coming off a bye week.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about the logic, the value, the benefit of bye weeks in a minute, but we don't have a game from last week.
Right.
So we don't have any players of the week from last week.
Right.
So we're going to play Name That Coach.
All right.
But first, I got to show you. See the new poster we got here?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That is really, that's amazing, isn't it, by the way? I mean,
Coach Kenneth M. Deal Memorial Stadium right there. Look
That's
at that.
awesome.
And the reason I bring it up, not just because it's a cool poster that my head's in the way of, but this roster of coaches, including you, there's 17 of them.
Right.
I promise you Kenny Deal was going to say, back in my day, it was me and a grandfather who, volunteered an hour a week.
Yes.
So 17 full-time football coaches is not what it used to be.
No, sir. Extremely blessed. I mean, when I first got into coaching, we had 5, and that's 20 years ago at Cayuga, Texas. And then when I moved up, I think when I got here, we might have had 10. And then Coach Stenton has done an amazing job of filling the need as we've grown. So we have about just under 200 kids in high school football. He's just done an amazing job of supporting us, and with as we've grown, personnel has grown as well.
It's about 15 or 1,600 in the high school right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 17 coaches, you're one of them. I'm not going to ask you about you, okay? All right. Safeties coach.
That is Coach Matt Spann.
Okay. All right. John Rosh coaches.
The offensive line.
Okay. Who's the shortest guy on this list?
All right, so there's going to be some debate here. So, because we have actually measured, because
Hemsley, we get to throw him out.
Everyone's going to say it's myself.
Of course, yeah.
But I think it's going to be Coach Phelps is the shortest. And then Coach Major says he's taller than me, but I don't think so.
Okay.
So I think it's Coach Majors. That's just me personally. But they're going to say it's me.
Okay, all right.
But it's going to be Carlos Chapa now. Now that I think about it, it is Coach Chapa.
You're changing your answer.
It's going to be Coach Chapa.
Okay, who coaches?
The defensive line.
Defensive line, okay. How many Hamiltons are there?
2.
And their grandparents watch every week from?
Oregon.
State of Washington.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Really close.
Dang it.
Really close. Okay. D lineman.
That coaches the defensive line?
Yeah.
Coach Kiefer.
All right. And his job is to say, Nigel, go get the quarterback?
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
That's pretty much the whole gig.
Yeah, okay. That's a hard one. Okay. Nate Hemsley, defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
What makes him a good coach? Now, you talked about him last week as the attitude adjustment coach.
The one thing that, or to me, what makes Coach Hemsley so effective is you have to have a relationship with a kid. So for me, if a kid came in here and asked about Coach Nally, I would hope they would say something in the regards of, he's somebody that I lean on, and it's more about life than football and things like that, and it's broad when it comes to life. Whereas Coach Hemsley makes that relationship where it's about those moments in a life. And he has experienced so much in life that...
maybe people don't know the story. Tell them a little bit.
Yeah, so Coach Hemsley, just to kind of dive into his life story, Coach Hemsley's from New Jersey. He was raised by a single mother. And he is the youngest of 4. Getting into he was raised by his mother in 3 girls, and then it was him, and he is a coveted recruit coming out of high school. His mom would not let him play until he played in youth, and make a long story short, it didn't really work out, so he didn't play until he got into high school, and then just became this unbelievable player. Was very coveted coming out of high school. Was in the top 50 prospects in the nation. Now this is back in like 1984. I'm just kidding. It's in the 90s.
Some of us played in the 90s. Okay. But not in the top 50 recruits, by the way. But
So he had a lot of places that he could pick out of. Went to Syracuse because it was close to home. And then once again, I mean, he was a big-time recruit or a prospect going into the draft. Ended up being an undrafted free agent, going to the Oilers, and played for the Oilers, played for the Cowboys, played for the Panthers, played for the Dolphins, and then finished with the Panthers. And he just has so many life experiences that A, he can share, but B, it's when you make it to the level that he made it, and every kid aspires to do that. It's really cool to have somebody on staff that can relate to that and have those stories, but really kind of like when you hear his story and what he had to do, it wasn't based off of really talent. Like, he was a talented player, but if you listen to what he did to get to that point, that is, they talk about the process and the journey, but really it's the struggle too to get to that point. I mean, everything you have to do is right. And, he went to Syracuse, and Syracuse, I went to UNT, and no offense to UNT, but Syracuse is a little different than UNT in the regards of academics. It's a place where you have to go and not just work your butt off on the athletic field, but in the classroom as well. So he just has different experiences in that regard. So, but he makes an impact on our kids one-on-one. So that's the thing.
So out of these 17 guys, how many get to wear the NFL alumni shirt?
Well, we've had Coach Hemsley has played in the league. Coach Whitfield got invited, and Coach Johnson got invited, but they did not make the 53-man roster.
H-backs, John Peel.
Peel, yes, sir.
He's your big California guy.
Right.
Like USC.
Right.
Tell the story.
So we had a coach that left late, and make a long story short, I just got this resume, and I'm reading it on paper, and I'm like, holy moly. What's this guy?
He wants to come to Melissa.
Right, what does this guy want to do, So he was an offensive analyst for Orgeron and Kiffin. And then just, he got married, and his wife owns her own company. And taxes in California were just beating her up. So they decided to move to Texas. And
like every other Californian.
Yes. And so that's how he got here. I mean, we interviewed him over Zoom, and he did an amazing job. And that's really how he got here. But it was just so amazing. Like, you're looking at it like this guy was at USC, and now he wants to come to Melissa, So, but he's been a great addition to us and our program and whatnot.
You say you watch our games after, or your games after the game is over. So you hear us talk a lot about Coach Russell Sr.
Right.
And Coach Russell Jr. Coach Russell Jr. is your offensive coordinator, Jason Russell. His dad, Barry Russell, I assume you know his background.
Oh, yeah.
Like Texas State Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame.
Right. Legend.
Yes.
Legend. It's really cool. I was a head baseball coach for a little while too. So, but it's cool to listen to because I have kids that are coaches' kids. Well, Coach Russell is a coach's kid,
right?
So he can relate, with my kids and other coaches' kids. But it's cool to listen to those stories that he has when he was a kid. Like we were talking about the ball boys the other day, and hey, we got so many ball boys on the sideline. What we can do?
You do have the
right
exorbitant amount of ball boys, yes.
And it's so cool. I mean, he can come in and say, when I was a ball boy, I did X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So, but he has those experiences with his dad, and it makes you, just feel so, nostalgic just because of the fact of maybe I hope my kids have that same feeling, with me that he had with his dad. So, but yeah, Barry Russell, legend in the coaching profession.
You're watching the Cardinal Scoreboard show at the Dugout Sports Grill. We don't have Players of the Week this week because there was no game, so we're doing a little trivia contest. See if Matt Nally knows who works for him. So, who have you known the longest?
Probably Coach Russell, probably. And the only reason I say that is because when I got hired here, he was on staff for a semester before I got hired on.
So you didn't know any of these guys before Melissa?
No, sir.
Like Coach DeCern,
I knew Coach DeCern, yes, sir.
Bonham Purple Warriors coach.
Yes, sir. We went to high school together.
Right.
But I did not know Jason Russell until I got to Melissa. It would be Russell, and then it would be Coach Pickup that I've known the longest.
And who's the newest guy here?
It would probably be, you're going to look at Zach Whitfield, Carlos Chapa, Josh Bobbitt. That's it. That'd be the newest guys.
And I think we've talked about it over the years, but remind the audience, there's a interview process with you and with athletic director Seth Stenton
Correct.
to be a coach, but they also have to interview to be the English teacher or math
Right.
teacher. So how do you get to be a coach in Melissa?
Well, it's really tough. I mean, it's an extensive interview process. So obviously we bring in the applications, and let's just say it's a defensive position. So myself and the defensive staff will go through the applications.
So you post a job opening?
Yes. So we post it. There's an actual Texas High School Coaches Association website, and then there's a regional website and things like that we post those jobs on. And then once again, I mean, they have to teach. So it's really teacher first, coach second.
Because he may be a great D-line coach,
Right.
but he teaches math, and there's no math teacher openings.
Correct. So the defensive staff will bring these guys in, and we don't try to make it 10 people. It's usually like 5 to 7 people you bring in, and then we rank them.
Candidates.
Correct.
Right.
We rank the candidates as we've interviewed, and then we go to Mr. Wooten, and Mr. Wooten has his own
Melissa High School principal.
He has his own committee they have to go through, and then once they get the approval of them, then I take them to Coach Stenton, and Coach Stenton gives the final stamp.
The big boss.
Correct. The final stamp of approval for those hires. So I mean, it's 3 interviews, and if they came in and asked, probably the coaching staff interview, and I do interviews a little bit different. I want to get to know the person, because I feel like sometimes people are coached what to say and things like that. So, I'm always going to have an icebreaker, like who's the greatest running back of all time, or if you had to pick LeBron or Jordan, who would you pick? That's how I kind of, and why? That's how I kind of started, and then we kind of get into it that way. But
the answer is never LeBron.
Correct. Good. Thank you very much. You go into step 2.
Oh, well, good.
So, but it's.
And my philosophy of defense is score more points than they do. So
Mr. Wooten and them do not mess around when it comes to candidates for teaching positions, and then Coach Stenton just does a great job of the character piece of it. Like we all say the same thing. If you're a really good teacher, then you're a really good coach. But he just does a great job. He has like this radar of, are you a good person or not? And that's what we want. We want really good people who can teach and who can coach. And sometimes people just look for that coach or look for that teacher or whatever. We're trying to look for good men, good women who, can bring some value to our kids, rather than just on the field or whatever the case may be. It's got to be about how are we molding and winning lives forever, rather than just, hey, I can teach you how to block, or I can teach this, that, and whatever the case may be. So that's the biggest thing for Coach Stenton is, are we going to hire a really good person, first, and then can they teach and can they coach? And if I've done my job, they can coach. If Mr. Wooten's done his job, they can teach. And then, like I said, Coach Stenton does that character piece.
But there's a turnover every year.
Correct. The thing for us is we haven't had that much turnover on our coaching staff. And the one thing that I'm really proud of on the football side of it is, if we lose somebody, it's normally to a head football job or a coordinator job, or
because you want to help them get promoted.
Correct, 100%. I mean, we do things within our football program trying to help those people move up. Now, we've been so blessed that, I've been the head coach for 4 years, and I think that we've lost Coach DeZern, went to be a head coach. Coach Gilbert went to be an offensive coordinator. Coach Alford went to be a run game coordinator. And Coach Williams, he went to Denton Ryan. So Those are the only coaches that I've lost as the head football coach. But once again, you're trying to help those people up their career and whatnot, because everybody wants to be a coordinator, everybody wants to be a head coach, and it's your job as the head coach to help them achieve their goals as well.
Talk about the staff for the JV program.
Mm-hmm.
Do you practice with the JV? Is the JV the scout team? They're running their same offense. What's your philosophy?
So when it comes to JV, and I would say that everyone, I mean, there's somebody out there that does it better. But for me personally, I think there's not that many people out there that spend as much time with the JV as we do. So what we do is we start every single day with the offense, or the JV doing offense. So the JV is going to go out there and do offense, and they're going to do team to start their day. We've already done a walkthrough. We've already done all this pre-practice stuff.
During the same practice as the varsity?
During the same practice. So they're doing team while the varsity is inside. Varsity offense is inside, and they're working on gadgets and things like that. And then we bring them in, and they go through the regular, they're with the varsity offense during this time. So after they do team, they come in, they do all the, your group sessions, your indie sessions, and all that stuff.
That's classroom stuff.
Correct.
Yes.
And
remember, I have to translate for non-football speakers.
So we do good on good with the varsity. We do not put the JV with the varsity until a team setting. So all run holes are good on good. All pass scale is good on good. And then we do a team setting. Our team setting for our varsity defense, we take that JV and they go, and they're that scout team for the varsity during that varsity defensive team setting. And then we take a break, and they flip, and they go to defense. So our offense gets 2 practices a day. Our defense, varsity speaking, gets 2 practices a day. Our JV gets an offensive practice and a defensive practice. So once again, we only do good on good with the varsity.
That means varsity versus varsity, or starters versus starters.
Correct. So when we go back through and they're on defense, it's the same concept, but at the end, the JV does team defense. So when the varsity offense is doing team offense, the JV is doing team defense, and they scout each other. And then our varsity defense is outside doing, blitz work, stunt work, things like that. But we probably spend, and then let me rephrase that, we go after school, when we bring them after school, and our varsity's doing special teams, our JV's doing team again. So our JV probably gets just on a one day, they probably get 25 to 30 minutes of team offense, and then they get 20 minutes of team defense every day.
That means 11 on 11 versus, just quarterbacks throwing to receivers. Correct. Or linemen on the sled and
Correct.
That kind of stuff.
But there's a lot of people that, a lot of schools out there that, it's solely on the varsity, and we're, because, the truth is you're getting hired and fired on a Friday night. You're not getting hired and fired on a Thursday night.
Except this week.
Right.
Yes.
But for me personally, I just don't feel like that is the best way in the regards of development. But not just that, like I've learned over the years, we have these meetings at the end of the year, and you listen to kids talk, and it's really, taking a toll on me in the regards of, I just want to make sure that every kid is having a great experience. Every kid is being developed. Every kid feels like they're a Melissa Cardinal. And I just don't like the fact of ever thinking about ignoring a kid or whatever the case may be. Every kid deserves an opportunity to be developed, and every kid deserves an opportunity to be their best. And the only way you can do that is by giving them reps in practice and in a game.
And is this 17 coach list that we're talking about the varsity staff and the JV staff?
Correct. So everyone has their own duties. So like Coach Pickup, we have 2 JVs. So Coach Pickup is the head coach of the JV Black, and he is the offensive coordinator. The DC of the JV Black is Coach Majors, and I got that wrong. Coach Majors is the head coach. Coach Pickup's just the OC. Coach Majors is the head coach and the defensive coordinator. And then Coach Casey Hamilton is the JV Red OC, and Coach Kiefer is the JV Red DC and head coach, all the way through the freshmen. But everyone coaches all the kids. Coach Pickup is the varsity, JV, and freshman quarterback coach. Coach Rosh is the varsity, JV, and freshman offensive line coach, and so on and so forth. So everyone is coaching every single position.
Talk about Brendan Johnson. He's got 2 different jobs.
Coach Johnson is, first off, we've gotten into this profession. And when I got into this profession, your job was to mop the floors, to do the laundry, sweep,
Line the fields.
line the fields, mow the grass. And now coaches have gotten to the point where, and I hate to use this word, but they're entitled now. And when you come to Melissa and you see what you have, and I hate to be this way, but man, I'm a little old school with because he's a rookie coach. You need to understand what it means. This profession is so important, but in your development in this profession as well, because I just believe that you need to appreciate the history of everything. So yeah, Coach Johnson gets a little bit of rookie hazing a little bit, but he is an unbelievable coach, and he's one of those kids that impacts kids' lives. So we're super blessed to have him a part of our program.
You're watching the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. We broadcast every Monday night, 5:30 p.m. We record this program at the Dugout Sports Grill at the Z-Plex. We invite you to be a part of that. We're going to take a break and talk about this week's game against Mesquite Poteet in just a moment. I do invite you and your family to join me and my family this Sunday morning at First Melissa, in person 9 a.m. or 10:15 a.m. Online worship every Sunday 11:30 a.m. Go to the website, firstmelissa.com, to find out more. We'll take a break and come right back. Welcome back to the Dugout Sports Grill. This is the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. Make sure you subscribe to Melissa ISD on YouTube. You'll be alerted every time a new edition is released. This is Trey Graham with Cardinals head football coach Matt Nally here at the Dugout. And we do have a game this week. We enjoyed the bye week, but it's Thursday night football this week. We'll talk about it in a moment. But little stats for you, little district standings. Lovejoy 3-2 overall, 2-0 in the district. So are the Melissa Cardinals, 3-2, 2-0 in the district. As we've said all along, that district championship is probably played a few weeks from now on Thursday night in Lovejoy.
I hope so, yes, sir.
Crandall 4-1 overall, 1-1 in the district, and that one loss was
to us.
To you. That's right. Denison 3-2, 1-1. Greenville 2-3, 1-1. We could keep going down, but this week's opponent, Mesquite Poteet, 1-4 overall, 1-1 in the district. The Mesquite Poteet Pirates kickoff is Thursday night at 7. Make sure you change your calendar because it's Thursday night and it's 7 p.m. Central Time. But before we even talk about the Pirates, how was the bye week?
It was very relaxing. It was a great opportunity to go back and really focus on some of those things that we did need to clean up. But it was also an opportunity for the kids to have fun. You go in and everything's so serious all the time, and you get to go in and just have a good time. And I believe that the kids needed that and the coaches needed that. We usually practice for an hour and 45 minutes. In the bye week, we just practice for an hour, and we practice 3 days. And then we watched a bunch of film Monday and Friday and whatnot. But it was just really good to kind of take a step back, reconnect. It was really good for me personally. Just you're gone since June, and then you get a week to kind of get home early. And then that weekend after we played Terrell, as a coaching staff, we didn't come in. So it was great to have a weekend off. So, but I think for the kids and the coaches, it was really good. Just like I said, just to take a break, just to take a breath. And then, you're starting to go downhill in the season. So going back all the way to fall camp. So it's good to, reconnect and take a breath. So that was good for us.
You didn't get to pick the week of bye week.
No, sir.
But it turned out to be a really good timing.
It did.
Halfway exactly.
It did.
5 games down, 5 to go.
Yes, sir. It did. Normally, the UIL, the district that we're in, but the UIL gets to kind of dictate what's going on. And for us being in an 8-team district, and we coming together and deciding, because normally it's, you might be week 4, you might be week 6.
Because in an odd number district, you're the odd man out
Correct.
one of the weeks.
Correct. So for us coming together and deciding, hey, let's all take it at this point in time, oh man, it's and I've never done that before. In 20 years of coaching, I've never had where the bye week, no one's playing. So it was very special. But, you go back to, we're playing on Thursday, everyone else is playing on Friday. So, I mean, you're going, the bye week is fantastic. It's the greatest thing in the history of high school football. But, you're making up for it this week, which, a part of you is like, oh, but another part of you is like, it's what you're meant for, you know what I mean? And it's a fun time to, if you ever scout, it's just a really good time. It's a bonding time with coaches, and it's really cool to watch other people's pregame and things like that.
5A Division II top 10 in the state of Texas this week. Argyle Eagles number 1. They're
Yes,
pretty
sir.
good.
Not bad.
We saw that a few weeks ago. Liberty Hill, Fort Bend Marshall, Texas High, Grapevine Mustangs.
Yes, sir.
Number 5. You scrimmaged them earlier in
sir.
the year. Midlow Heritage. New coach, because he went down the street over there. Coach
He
Wigginton
did,
went to Allen.
Yeah. It was his defensive coordinator that took over. But he's a great guy. I mean, first off, Coach Wigginton and Allen's a great guy. And anyone that was on his staff is going to be a solid person. Not just an unbelievable coach, but a great person. So they're very lucky to who they got there at Midlothian Heritage.
That was number 6. Number 7, Montgomery Lake Creek, Wichita Falls Rider, San Antonio Alamo Heights, number 9 in the 5A Division II top 10 this week. Number 10, the Bears.
Yes, sir.
DISD, South Oak Cliff. They're
not
better
bad.
than number 10.
Yeah, they're not bad. I was looking at today their strength of schedule and just overall in all of Texas high school football. And their strength of schedule is top 15 overall. So that's 6A's and everybody. So, it's just like, I think they're 1-4 or 2-3 or something like that at this point in time. But they've played so unbelievable opponents. Now, first off, it comes to people don't want to play you. But second off, Coach Todd's philosophy is the same thing. I'm going to have to, put my team in adverse situations early because in the playoffs, I don't want adversity. But once again, they're not top. They're not number 10.
They're not 10.
No, sir.
In the 4A Division I top 10, included in those top 10 are the Orange People and the Purple People.
I saw that.
Salina and Anna.
Good for Anna. Very awesome for Anna. Not going to say anything about Salina, but good for Anna.
Somewhere Coach Deal's saying amen right now, I think.
Right.
We mentioned Thursday night, 7 p.m. at Mesquite Poteet, the Pirates Mesquite Memorial Stadium. There's multiple stadiums over there. Make sure you go to the right one. 7 o'clock Thursday, talk about the Pirates.
It's really weird because about 10, 12 years ago, I never heard of Mesquite Poteet before in my life. And I had a coach. I'm coaching.
Back in the Richardson High School days, they didn't exist. We used to
like,
play North Mesquite quite a bit.
I was really shocked when I went there. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought the logo was kind of cool. And, I just thought it was neat. But about 10, 12 years ago, I'm a coach in East Texas, and I had a guy get on my staff, and he was telling me about a buddy of his at Mesquite Poteet. And we went there, and we stayed 3 days at Poteet learning football. And make a long story, it's just weird how, just the world's small and how things come back, and it was an unbelievable 3-day experience that I had then, and I had so much respect for those people. The defensive coordinator that was there at that time is now the athletic director, Cody Groves, but Coach McLean we talk about great people, he's the greatest guy I know. So, and he does a good job.
Somewhere Kenny Deal and Duke Sparks are saying, what about me?
Well, you know what? If Coach Sparks was here, first off, Coach Sparks, if you watch at a practice, Coach Sparks is going to come to a practice. And Coach Sparks is going to come in and coach. So he's like, I've been retired for 23. No, he coaches every single day. But But he is. Coach McLean is one of the greatest guys I know, and he does an unbelievable job with the kids he has.
And I don't have to tell you after all these interviews with Matt Nally that coaches are, how shall we say, routine oriented.
Oh yeah.
So Thursday night, it just throws everything off.
If it was
One whole day.
100%. If it was not, if we didn't have the bye week, I would be in shambles, and everybody else would be in shambles too, just because you don't have that. I mean, it's really a 4-day prep. Well, now it's a 2-day prep, because that Wednesday prep, it's JV, you're doing all these other things and whatnot. When it's a Friday, you kind of get an extra day with that Thursday, but with a Wednesday as well. But if we didn't have the bye week, it would have been a bad situation. So, but once again, I mean, they're in the same situation that we are, and you know, it's crazy you say that. Even a 7 o'clock start,
Yes.
stinks. Even
Yeah.
that 7 o'clock start, you're going through your schedule, and you know, you're just like, yeah, you know. So
Should I tell them your secret?
oh yeah,
Even on like senior night, when it's a 10-minute change, the coaches are going, "Oh no, what are we gonna do? 10-minute, yeah."
that's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Re-
But you know, I mean, it's just, you know, to the point where you know, you have to adjust. You know, I mean, that's what our life is about. You know, it's adjusting all the time. But I mean, it's just it's such a blessing to be a part of the job. But when it comes back to it, those kids, in our opinion, they need to be on a schedule. So that's why a lot of people won't play during the day. You know, that's a lot of people.
Playoff games, coaches hate
yeah,
that.
and on Saturdays, people
Yes.
don't want to do that. And
Well, your play-by-play doesn't like Saturday games. You know that, right?
right, correct.
Because I have to work on Sundays. So
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's the big thing is keeping those kids on a schedule, and not getting them off the schedule. Now it's the same thing with the coaching staff, but
and I guess we better explain why it's Thursday night this week.
right.
There's shared stadiums.
Correct. So when we came out with the district schedule, when the UIL, you know, we did the, you know, number drawing and all that stuff, and it came out, and we were playing on this week, they told us up front, hey, we're going to have to play some games on Thursday because of our scheduling situation with our stadium.
They
So-
share it with other high schools.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I was hoping, hey, not going to be us. They got a Thursday night, and I can't remember who it was with, and I was like, oh, there it is, and then in Melissa. Oh, so yeah, that's how it went down.
So make sure you're by the channel. Thursday night, 7 p.m. kickoff, 6:30 pregame show on the Melissa Cardinals Network, the 15th year
All
of the
right.
Melissa Cardinals Network, and the 4th year of Matt Nally as the head football coach. Join us Monday evenings, 5:30 p.m. at the Dugout Sports Grill. Visit us this Sunday at First Melissa. Go to firstmelissa.com. Thank you for spending your evening with us. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time. Saying good night from the Dugout.